this season, and has a 6-2 record with an ERA of 2.90. That's your Sunday guy.
Yeah.
Now the guy they're going to run out tomorrow has the worst ERA on the starting staff, and Cameron Fluke's ERA is 3.12. But opponents are only hitting 209 against him, and he's got 102 strikeouts against 18 walks. So that gives you an idea as to why he's going to start game 1 tomorrow.
Got to love those kind of numbers. Well, that's
Incredible.
why they've won 51 games. You don't win 51 games unless you've got some depth. What you're around the players, around the coach, practice today, and then a little press conference action. What seemed to be their mood going into this thing? Are they at all fazed by where they are and what they're doing?
Not at all. It looks like a team that comes to the Super Regionals all the time. Not a team that hasn't been here in nearly a decade. And Auburn, I mean, this is going to be their first ever hosting opportunity for a Super Regional. So both teams are in a little unique scenario. How will Auburn respond with what appears to be an overwhelming crowd, as you pointed out? And from what I was told a funny story today that years ago, when teams, most certainly SEC teams, came in here to Plainsman Park, they enjoyed playing here because there was not a very good atmosphere, and it was one of the easier places that SEC teams had to travel. Evidently, that's changed. They've redone the stadium somewhat. I don't know what it looked like before, but it's a really cozy ballpark. Got a little Boston Red Sox feel to it with regards to the green monster out in left field, about a 38-foot wall out there in left field that's in play. So that was one thing I asked Coach Schnall about, how he was going to have his left fielder, in particular Sebastian Alexander, how were they going to adjust defensively? And they worked on that a good bit. It was interesting watching them sort of take fungos off the bottom of that wall. They must have hit 15 balls off the bottom of the wall field. None of them came back the same direction. They did a bounce straight back, bounce to your left, bounce to your right. So that'll be something that I think Auburn has a decided advantage because they're used to playing in this ballpark. But in terms of, to answer your initial question, in terms of Coastal, Coach Schnall said, I don't want to treat this as any other game because it's not. We are 2 wins away from going back to Omaha, but he pointed out, our guys have come in and they've attacked every game as important as the next one. It's sort of that.
Doodle-loop. Doodle-loop. We just lost Bergie there for a moment. He'll connect once again momentarily. That is what you deal with when you're on the road, but we got the gist of what he was saying, and we'll get back to him. We're going to hear from Coach Schnall coming up in just a moment. I hear you're back with us now. You dropped out there for a moment.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yep. You got to love the road.
Yep.
I tried the hotel Wi-Fi at first, and that didn't work very well, so we're off on the hotspot now. So we'll see.
Yeah,
hopefully that'll get us through.
Yeah, you're good. Go ahead and finish what you were saying, though.
But I think to sum it up, Coach Schnall was asked about, how do you treat this game? Is it any, obviously it's a big game. And he said, I don't want to treat it as just any other game because it's not. You're 2 wins away from going to the College World Series. But for a team that's won 51 games and 21 in a row, I mean, winning doesn't get mundane for them. They just show up, they do their thing, and 9 times out of 10, they've thrown up a W on the win column. So I think they'll go in loose and ready to play tomorrow, and I would anticipate Auburn will be comfortable in their own surroundings. So, like I said at the outset, Phil, I think this has the makings of being one of the best super regionals around the country this weekend.
All right. Well, there's only 16 teams left. 8 of them will advance to Omaha. We'll see starting tomorrow night late, 9 o'clock Eastern time, if the weather holds up and there are no delays, 9 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow night. And later on tonight, we will hear from who?
Kevin Schnall, Ty Dooley, and also Caden Bodine. Certainly Coach Schnall, if I can get it all put together. As a matter of fact, I just sat down and got the computer hooked up in the hotel about the time we went on the air, so this was great timing.
That's what I call hustle. Are you not? I don't want to give away your address. I don't want people looking for you. But are you sort of out near 85, or are you more downtown?
No, I'm out near 85. As a matter of fact, I think the team is staying downtown. I'm staying out by the interstate and the cheap seats, if you will.
There you
but
go.
Nice hotel nonetheless.
That's a nice area.
I'm not downtown.
They've done a lot of development. A lot of commerce has come in over that area, and it's fine. It's a good place to stay. So. Okay, got you there in Auburn, and we'll see what happens. It's number 4 ranked Auburn, number 13 Coastal Carolina, but none of that matters because they'll be going head-to-head for a ticket to Omaha. Wow, how about that? Coastal Carolina, not Clemson, not South Carolina. It's Coastal Carolina carrying the state flag and with the chance to get to Omaha. For them, if they, like you pointed out, if they make it, it'll be their second time in 9 years. 2016, they won the national championship, And, of course, South Carolina hasn't been since 2012, and Clemson hasn't been since 2010. And they will, if they were to go to Omaha and win the whole darn thing, they would tie the Gamecocks in baseball national championships. Think about that. This was a school. This was a school 50 years ago that had what? Maybe, I don't know the history. I'm going off the top of my head here. When it was USC Conway, would they have maybe 500 students and like 2 buildings? and look where they are now.
They certainly didn't have the baseball tradition they have now, but you're right. They would be the banner program in our state. Everybody else would have to start looking up to what Coastal's done.
Mm-hmm. Would they be? I mean, a lot of South Carolina people still don't. They still, of course, they don't accept Coastal's athletic success because of what Coastal was to them until they got their own independence, I guess you could say, and they still won't play them in baseball.
Right.
They do play them in the other sports, so I don't know why they don't play in baseball. I don't know. Maybe South Carolina. Maybe I know the Coastal people would line that game up in a heartbeat if given the opportunity, wouldn't they?
There's no question. They would love to play South Carolina again, and the only time here recently they've played was in the NCAA tournament, and it's a shame because, as you correctly pointed out, we have 3 national championships in baseball right now in our state, and the 2 teams that have won the 3 don't play one another. Clemson's got no problem playing Coastal. I don't know why USC has such a problem with scheduling the Chanticleers in baseball. They play them in basketball. They've played them in women's basketball. They played them in softball this year. Maybe that's the reason, because Coastal beat USC in softball, and then they'll play them in football again this fall. So I just don't understand the animosity or whatever the problem is. We've never, ever gotten a real clear answer as to why those 2 teams don't play. But if we get to a point that Coastal has as many national championships in baseball as Carolina does, that's got to change, because the respect level should be there. I mean, we should speak of Coastal baseball in the same breath that we talk about Clemson baseball and South Carolina baseball.
You know, somebody, hello, listen up. Somebody should approach ADs in Segra Park and say, how about this for a weekend? Actually, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Round robin, South Carolina and Clemson do not play. You preserve their weekend series, maybe for the next weekend. This would be maybe the weekend before. Or maybe this would open the baseball season. But you get
there you go.
South Carolina, Clemson, Coastal, Charleston, Wofford, and Upstate. Have to throw Upstate in there. Or Winthrop. You can rotate. Maybe you can rotate, but you get 6, and you play 3 games a day, and you play round robin somehow, some way. I can't do the figuring in my head right now. You don't want South Carolina and Clemson to play, however, because their weekend series has to stay unique, because it is unique. But you do a round robin outside of that. Have a baseball festival opening the season. Play it at Segra Park in Columbia, middle of the state. My gosh, you'd sell it out. You'd have 10,000 people. You'd have 10,000 people a day. You'd have 30,000 people for that thing. I bet you. I might do that. That's my idea. Nobody can run with that. It's my idea. I mean, don't you think that'd be a hit? Don't you think that'd be a success?
I do. As much as we respect baseball in our state, I think it'd be awesome. And you get them the first weekend. So what you would be able to do, you'd get let's take this year, you'd get a Cameron Flukie being able to pitch against top-flight pitchers from USC Upstate and the College of Charleston. And then you get a situation where South Carolina can throw one of their aces against maybe Coastal or Winthrop or whomever. Clemson doing the same. Aiden Canuck against Jacob Morrison would be must-see television, wouldn't it? Or Cameron Flukie.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be great stuff.
Yeah.
It really would.
Yeah. Or you could have Amp Phillips starting for South Carolina against Upstate. Against his old team.
Really good, wouldn't it?
You know? I mean, the imagination can come up with a lot of things. So let's see if we can make that happen. Probably can't. It's a great idea. It's too good of an idea to probably come to fruition. Maybe somebody out there with some pull can make that. I know who to call. Yeah, I got somebody I can call. I'll place a phone call tomorrow. Of course, you got to have all the ADs on board and all the coaches on board. You'd have to give up your opening weekend of home games. It'd have to make financial sense, which I think it would if you could sell all those tickets. Plus the the beer being sold and everything else. Okay, we'll be back. We'll set up the show for you when we come back.
This is Major Billy Downer with the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Boating season is here, and as you get ready to go out on the water this spring and summer, make sure you have all the required safety equipment on board. Check for a sound device. A horn or whistle will suffice for most boats. Inspect all of your life jackets. Make sure they're in good condition and are the correct size for all of your passengers. If your boat is over 16 feet, you will need to make sure you have an approved throwable device on board as well. Remember, boating safety is no accident.
George Bryan here with Tsunami Bar Sports and some great spring golf news. If you're ready to mash your tater, I think you need a Laginator. And if you want to get more speed and crack the whip, it's time for a mini stick. So TsunamiBarSports.com, GB10 to get 10% off the Laginator and the mini stick. That's TsunamiBarSports.com, GB10 for 10% off.
This is Major Billy Downer with the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Boating season is here, and as you get ready to go out on the water this spring and summer, make sure you have all the required safety equipment on board. Check for a sound device. A horn or whistle will suffice for most boats. Inspect all of your life jackets. Make sure they're in good condition and are the correct size for all of your passengers. If your boat is over 16 feet, you will need to make sure you have an approved throwable device on board as well. Remember, boating safety is no accident.
When I grew up, I want to be a nurse.
I want to be an engineer.
I want to be a teacher.
There's never been a better time to start making their dreams come true. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan, makes it easy to save for their future education. Contributions are tax deductible, earnings are tax free, and you can start saving right now with any amount. Go to futurescholar.com today to discover the smart, easy way to save for college. That's futurescholar.com.
There's a hard moon rising on the streets tonight. There's a reckless feeling in your heart as you head out tonight. Through the concrete canyons to the midtown.
Hey, Bergie. Bergie,
Yes, sir.
you see what the plumber's wearing? Look at that.
I can't. Yeah, I can't see him tonight. I had to dump the video for quality internet service. So my apologies.
He's wearing a Gamecock shirt. First time
How
ever.
about that?
He's no
Good for
longer a
him.
Gamecock virgin. He's wearing a Gamecock shirt. He's a Gamecock. And he gave a little Go
Good
Cox
for you,
earlier.
Plumber.
I did not give a Go Cox. Thank you, though. I appreciate it. I know I look good. I always look good. So,
Oh, the
not worried
women
about it.
are going to be crawl. You wear that shirt around campus, there's no way they can keep their hands off of you.
Oh, is that
be
right?
drooling.
Yeah. You can go ahead and mark it down.
There goes Bergie again.
You might meet the missus. You might meet the missus on day one as you're walking around camp. You never know. Stranger things have happened. Okay, on to more important things. Clemson gets the commitment from defensive end J.R. Hardrick late this afternoon. No surprise there. He had actually told us back in May that this was going to happen, and he went ahead and committed today. More details coming up. We're going to stick our nose in there live at 6:35. It's supposed to start at 6:30 on 3 this time around. It's Carter Scruggs, offensive tackle out of Leesburg, Virginia. Just visited Clemson, canceled his other visits. He's going to be doing his announcement. So, you can, as they say, do the math and figure it out. But we'll carry that at 6:35 when we come back from the break, assuming he hasn't already announced it by then. So if it's still in the build-up stage, we'll bring that to you. We're going to hear from the Coastal Carolina folks coming up. We are scheduled to have Mike Morgan with us tonight, and I have confirmation that he is in. I wonder if he went to the Braves game today. I'm sorry, Braves fans. I hate to take such pleasure in your pain, but my goodness. You blew – they're coming apart now, Bergie. They're 11-10 as a 7-run top of the ninth for
Oh, my gosh.
Arizona. Yeah, a 7-run top of the ninth. The Braves can't stop anybody. Their bullpen is in shatters. They get swept by the D-backs. The fans are jumping ship. They want the manager's head. They want Well, we'll ask Mike Morgan exactly. He probably was at the game today if he was in Atlanta. So the Braves lose another one. They are now 7 games back under 500. Remember, they had climbed up to 500, and now they have slipped back to 7 games under 500. I don't know why I take such joy in the Braves losing, but I do. It's a happy thing for me. How about you? Do you take joy in the Braves losing?
No. Most good, upstanding Southerners would never take joy in the Braves losing. You just fall into the Yankees category.
Well, they're not really a Southern team. I mean, they were really, actually born in Boston, and then
they've been in Atlanta
Milwaukee
all my life, so I consider them a Southern team.
And finally Atlanta. Yeah.
Yeah. But, I was listening to the game coming through Atlanta today, and they got off to a pretty good start. They won 1-0, and the radio guys were talking about Fault, the starting pitcher for Arizona, who's just been terrible. I think they said in his latest outing against the Nationals, he gave up 8 consecutive hits, did not get an out. And he's got one of the higher ERAs in Major League Baseball, but one of the higher amount of wins. I think he was like 7-1 or something like that, because every time he pitches, the Diamondbacks put up double-figure runs. They realize that he's not going to hold the other team down, so they've got to go score. And here again, he goes 3 innings today, allowed 6 runs, 5 of them earned on 5 hits. I don't think got the win, but they still won the game. It's remarkable.
And that is so opposite of Yankee pitcher Clark Schmidt, the former Gamecock, because when he pitches, the Yankees do not score runs. He pitches well, but they don't score runs. I mean, he was the loser last night I think it finished up 3-0 maybe. He came out down 3-0, but I mean, he pitched well enough to win, but the Yankees scored no runs. I'm going to look it up and see. I doubt the Yankees have ever scored more than 6 runs for him in a start. I got to look that up and see, because the poor guy just gets no run support. Also today in Major League Baseball, I was listening to this on the way in. The Athletics beat Minnesota 14-3. It got so bad for the Twins, they took former Gamecock third baseman Jonah Bride and put him on the mound. They let him pitch in the last couple of innings because they were getting beat so bad. Clemson's former Clemson player Logan Davidson, who just got called up by the Twins, he played in that game as well, but Jonah Bride got some work on the mound. Okay, we'll be back. We're going to dial into that press conference, see what happens.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clearing skies with a low temperature dipping down to 66. Tomorrow, much warmer, mostly sunshine-filled skies to go with a high temperature of 92. For Saturday, we're warm, 93 the high, a blend of sunshine and clouds. There's a 30% chance we get an afternoon downpour. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Are you looking for free checking and free savings? Dave Ramsey here, telling you to go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank that's so big they lose the ability to treat you like a human being. At Palmetto Citizens, you're not just a number, you're a member. Join today at any of their 14 locations or at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
No. With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump says it might be better to let Ukraine and Russia fight for a while before pulling them apart and pursuing peace. Meanwhile, newly elected German Chancellor Friedrich Merz appealed to him as the key person in the world who could halt the war. A unanimous Supreme Court has made it easier to bring a lawsuit over reverse discrimination, siding with an Ohio woman who claims she didn't get a job and was demoted because she's straight. The justice's decision Thursday affects lawsuits in 20 states and the District of Columbia. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson says federal civil rights laws draws no distinction between members of majority and minority groups. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 108 points. More details at srnnews.com.
Hey, it's Kev. I'm hanging out with Ken, the owner of Broker Solar, a local company. Now, Ken, I know you have some solar pet peeves. These national guys, they're just not very honest.
One of the common myths in the solar industry is that you can get solar for free or some kind of government-paid solar, and that's simply not the truth. But what you can get is a solid investment that has tax credits that will pay you back for years to come. That's one of the things that we promote at Broker Solar is proper education in what solar is and how you can take advantage of the incentives that are out there, local and federal.
Tell me more about these tax credits.
There's currently a huge federal tax credit that gets you a third of the system cost back. And on top of that, the state of South Carolina, we're lucky enough to have an extra 25% of that solar system cost come back to you in the form of tax credits, totaling for a 55% discount on your solar system back in tax credits.
Call Broker Solar. Call them now, 803-807-7417 or online, brokersolar.com.
Hey y'all, it's Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. We're introducing our new healthy gluten-free menu. For your choices, we offer charbroiled certified Angus ribeye steak, juicy marinated grilled chicken dinner, fresh grilled salmon, authentic Greek salad, hamburger steak with grilled onions and melted cheese, shish kebab with grilled chicken, veggie blue plate with a choice of 4 vegetable selections, spring chicken salad, and of course, our famous slow-roasted pot roast. Come and enjoy a healthy gluten-free menu at Flight Deck Restaurant. We at Flight Deck Restaurant, thank you, and God bless.
If you step onto H&J Cattle's farm, you'll find third-generation farmers upholding the legacy. They embrace sustainability and take immense pride in their craft, raising cattle purely on nature's offerings, without growth hormones, antibiotics, or animal byproducts. The result? Unmatched quality beef that's not just good, it's the best in South Carolina. Experience the distinct flavor of our finest registered Hereford and Wagyu beef. Visit us online at hdjcattle.com or on Instagram and Facebook at H&J Cattle.
Escape the hustle and bustle of everyday life with Spa MD, your sanctuary of rejuvenation. Feel the tension melt away as our expert team guides you through your customized wellness journey. From soothing massages to revitalizing treatments, we promise a remarkable experience that leaves you feeling renewed and empowered. Discover the calm within every visit. Reach out at 251-9400 or online at visitspamd.com to explore your options. Your oasis of tranquility awaits.
This is Fran Halloran, the Money Coach. Grow with the point as we build on 10 incredible years of community local radio. We've built an environment where our listeners are our family. Are you a small business with big dreams? Join the tremendous stable of advertising partners at The Point. Connect with Kevin Cohen and brainstorm a tailored strategy to escalate your business growth using the powerful platform of The Point. Call Kev directly at 563-8558. Teaming with The Point, you can make the next year your best year.
All right, just seconds ago, Carter Scruggs made his announcement. So instead of us telling you what he announced, I mean, this literally was just 30 seconds ago. Timing didn't exactly work out from our standpoint, but they didn't ask us. Literally 45, literally 60 seconds ago, literally a minute and 15 seconds ago, he made this announcement.
So first off, I want to thank God. I want to be here, where I am today. I also want to thank my family, all my coaches, Coach R, Coach Mitchell, Coach Dylan with Fat Boys, for constantly supporting me throughout my journey. Finally, I want to thank all the coaches who gave me an opportunity and believed in me. But with that being said, for the next 3 to 4 years, I will be continuing my athletic and academic career at Clemson University. Go Tigers!
You got to spit that thing out in a hurry. Then what did he do? Took off a top, put a Clemson shirt on, got a Clemson hat on. And so another big pickup for Clemson. They have been on the roll when it comes to the offensive line. That's 6 offensive linemen committed for the Tigers for Matt Luke in this class. All of them heavily recruited guys. They have built the Great Wall of Pickens up there at Clemson with this class, Bergie. And I happen to think that, offensive line is a sign and develop type of position for your long-term success, your long-term health. You can have, You bring in guys and develop them. If they're the right guys, you can have an offensive line playing together 3 years perhaps. And I think that's what they have in mind here with Matt Luke, bringing all these guys in, not going to the portal to fill in holes on the offensive line, but going to their own recruit, sign, and develop. And if these guys all pan out for them, they're going to be set on the OL from the season of 2026 through the season of 2028, maybe 2029.
We talk so much about the most important position in football and maybe the most important position in sports is the quarterback, but I think the second most is along the lines of scrimmage, both offensively and defensively. And can we just credit Matt Luke totally for this? Because, I mean, Clemson's had a resurrection in terms of recruiting along the offensive line, and the only noticeable change I think they've made is bringing in Matt Luke, and every one of these guys talks about the relationship they've got with him. I think he clearly has done a tremendous job in recruiting, and I think you're right. I think Clemson's going to be really, really solid up front for a long time.
Here are the offensive linemen in this class. I usually put them as offensive tackles, but, of course, they can be moved inside. Grant Wise is a center, 6'3", 310, Milton, Florida. Chancellor Barclay is a guard, 6'4", 290, Mineola, Florida. Braden Wilms is an offensive tackle, 6'8", 285, Lawrence, Kansas. Adam Guthrie is an offensive tackle, 6'6", 270, Washington Courthouse, Ohio. Leo Delaney yesterday, an offensive tackle, could play inside, 6'6", 280 from Charlotte. And just now, Carter Scruggs, offensive tackle, could play inside, 6'6", 290 out of Leesburg, Virginia. A lot of size. You bring those guys in. And the thing about an offensive line, Bergie, they, maybe more than any other position on a football team, they kind of grow together as a family with their position coach. They hang out together. I mean, I know different personnel groups. They all hang out together. But it seems to me like the offensive linemen tend to bond more closely simply because of the type of position that they're playing and what they have to do. I mean, your center's got to know what your guard's going to do. Your tackle's got to know what the center's calling out and what the guard's going to do. They all have to be cohesive in what they're doing.
You're right. And how many times have we talked about, especially Clemson, with the injuries they've had the last couple of years and having to shift around and put guys at different positions that maybe they're not as comfortable playing. But if they can get a cohesive unit up front and have the same starting center, same starting guards, same starting tackles in your right field, I think that unit probably bonds as closely as any other on a football team. And then you throw in the quarterback, who always seems to want to go work out with the offensive linemen. Mm-hmm. I think it's a pretty good idea. He wants to make sure those guys who protect him know he's got their back as well. So, yeah, I've been awfully impressed, and I'm sure Clemson fans have, with the job that they've done recruiting offensive linemen. And you know, back to my initial question, I mean, how much longer do they keep Matt Luke? If he goes on a recruiting tear like this, somebody's going to want to move him up and hire him away from them.
Well, I mean, his only move would be a head coaching job, and he had that
right,
at Ole Miss, once before. I think he's very happy at Clemson. They just offered his son. So if his son were to come to Clemson, you got to believe that he's going to want to stay there and be with his son as he goes through his years at Clemson. So I wouldn't expect Matt Luke to be going. Nobody's going to be hiring him as a head coach anytime soon. I don't believe. Right. And so I think he'll be perfectly happy. Makes good money at Clemson. He's got it dialed up recruiting-wise. He does a terrific job coaching his guys. So unless somebody were to blow his doors off with some kind of offer, but I don't foresee that happening. All right, so Clemson picks up another one. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it's very clever, too, and this is something Clemson has done for years. Dabo's smart enough to go and get sons of his coordinators or his assistant coaches. Remember, Brent Venable's kids played at Clemson, and now he's got Matt Luke's son committed to come into the Tigers. This is smart. This is another good way to keep the dad involved in the program.
Well, he had his own sons come through there, too.
Exactly.
But now, listen, I have heard and read, of course, the message. The brain of the message board writer is sort of a damaged brain, I think, in a lot of ways. So I don't necessarily – I shouldn't say – that's just mean. But it is. I mean, who sits around reading message boards at 2 in and, I don't know, eating orange slices or something? But what I was trying to get to was – I've seen comments and heard comments from some Clemson fans who we're wasting scholarships by giving scholarships to the sons of Clemson personnel, whether it's people in the weight room or coaches or administrators, scholarships that could have gone to perhaps better players, Or you hear, too, about Dabo giving scholarships to players who are sons of friends of his from his Alabama days. Well, a lot of those players have paid off big time for Clemson. They've been contributors and starters and have played a role. Some haven't, but a good number have. But that could change now if we ever get this this judge off her rear end in California.
No doubt. And
she signs off or decides where we're going to go next with all this, and everything gets settled. We'll have to see how the rosters are going to play out. You may not have that luxury because every scholarship is going to become valuable. You just can't award it to somebody's son if that son is not up to snuff to be able to play at your level. So,
well, okay. What's the number going to be for football? 105?
I think so. I mean, it sounds that way, but who knows?
Are Tiger fans really concerned about the number 102 man on their roster? I mean, the only time those guys, quite frankly, ever get into a game is when they're playing South Carolina State. No offense to the Bulldogs, but you get my drift.
Yeah.
When they're playing an FCS opponent.
Yeah.
That's about the only time those guys get in. It's not like they're stealing a scholarship away from somebody that would have been inside the top 50. I mean, Dabo's not that dumb. Let's give him a little credit.
Not disagreeing. Then again, those guys are important in practice and scout teams.
No doubt.
All that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I know Gamecock fans are like, we haven't had a commitment in a long time. When are we getting one? They're coming. I think first of next week, South Carolina's going to have some commitments rolling in. I think you probably know who we're talking about. And we'll have news on another one that we've already mentioned as a really good possibility. And they just offered a South Carolina kid today, a wide receiver. We'll talk about this in recruiting. We've been following him. After getting this offer from South Carolina, I feel pretty confident they're going to end up getting him. So they're going to start rolling in for South Carolina as well. The Gamecocks just had their first camp today. So Clemson's had camps all week. They've had players in. They've been handing out a lot of offers, and guys have been making their decisions right about this time. So that's why Clemson's been getting so much of attention here with the number of commitments they've gotten and the highly recruited players that they are getting. And South Carolina will be doing the same thing here, probably over the weekend or the first of next week. So just stay tuned for that and be patient. It is going to happen. Clemson's losing another pitcher to the Portal John. Can we get a little flush on this? Because need to grease up the Portal John. We haven't flushed it out in a while. Hudson Lee is that was mid-flush. There we go. Hudson Lee. He was a seldom used pitcher out of the bullpen. He is transferring out of Clemson. So that's one that's going to be hitting the road. Now, interesting here that South Carolina apparently, speaking of commitments, South Carolina apparently has picked up a couple of baseball commitments because both Monty Lee and Terry Rooney last night put out commitment alerts, their own little personal commitment alerts. I'm assuming it's different players because Terry Rooney, he recruits pitchers and Monty Lee recruits hitters and position players. So you can look forward to that from South Carolina, though I haven't seen anything come forward yet on that. And then Eli Ellis, the freshman guard at South Carolina, had a tweet today as well indicating that South Carolina had gotten somebody. Don't know who. Hadn't seen anybody claim it yet, but there might be a basketball commitment out there. If I'm reading this tweet appropriately, there might be a basketball commitment out there for South Carolina as well. Again, I haven't seen it. If anybody has seen any postings related to any of these guys, feel free to text us. Our text number is 803-900-4847, 803-900-4847, or you can give us a call, which is 888-898-2525. That is the South Carolina Education Lottery Lucky number. All right, we're going to be going through some news notes here. Recruiting coming up, Mike Morgan coming up, Will Vandervoort at the bottom of the next hour, and Bergie stuff from Coastal Carolina at Auburn. Let's hit this phone call real quick before we hit the break. And where are we going, Plumber?
Sam in Charleston.
Okay. Hello, Sam. Welcome into Sports Talk. How you doing?
Doing great. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope the rainstorm's going away soon. So we have a really bad rainstorm down here. So that's things. Hey, I know you've been talking about the portal thing. I want to touch on. So I've got to tell you this, but can you play the breaking news thing?
The breaking news? All right, hang on. Let's get you ready? Here's the breaking news. All right, what you got, Sam?
So I know. So at the College of Charleston had their 8 commits and 9 commits this week. Who is the guy from who they picked on from, like, Boston area, or? That's my first question. That's my first question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I know we have 8 commits from USC Upstate, and that's number one. Number two is that can you guys have a big and long conversation about the how deep is our bench this upcoming season for basketball season? And then third one I want to touch on is do you guys remember a few years ago when Nick Kelsey was here? We had that block party. Is that going to really happen next year? Because now remember, this year we did not have it.
Yeah, from what I've heard, they're going to take from King Street down to Queen Street and turn that into a block party.
Well, how about George Street?
Now, George Street's a little bit out of the way. King Street to Queen Street to Smith Street over to – what other streets are there down there? I'm actually making this up, Sam, so don't pay any attention to it. To answer your question, and we got to go to the break, but let me answer your question real quick. Most recently, they signed Will Mortimer. Will Mortimer, a transfer from Colorado Mesa. 11 points, about 7 rebounds per game. I think that's the most recent one to jump into the program. Of course, they got Christian Reeves transferring in from Clemson. They've had a nice little portal season, picking up some guys, and going to help their team stay very competitive in the CAA. Okay, Sam, thank you. We'll be right back.
I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. Whether it's becoming a teacher, dentist, or engineer, every child deserves the chance to chase their dreams. Investing in a child's education with Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 College Savings Plan, can help turn those big dreams into next steps. So don't wait. You can start with any amount. Contributions are tax deductible and earnings grow tax-free. Discover the smart, easy way to save for college at futurescholar.com.
Traveling can be the worst, especially when you can't find your favorite show. Well, don't worry, we've got the perfect way to keep up with everything happening in the Palmetto State when you're away from home. Just pull up the Chief Sports app on your mobile device, and you can listen live to Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network.
So the next time you can't find us on one of our great radio affiliates, just log on to the Chief Sports app, the best way to stay connected with the Sports Talk Media Network.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. That's the sound of a big hit on you and your car or truck. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years, helping people who get injured in car wrecks and truck wrecks. If you have serious injuries, call Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968, or email me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. That's CORBETT. I don't get paid unless I recover for you. Jim Corbett Attorney, for your best recovery from a big hit, 803-765-2968, or jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
The lottery is not about getting rich. It's about helping people, and it always has been. The lottery is what helped raise the Great Wall of China, build the roads of Rome, and today, in South Carolina, it's what generates millions of dollars each year for scholarships like the SC Hope, Life, and Palmetto Fellows. The South Carolina Education Lottery is investing in you. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou to learn more.
All right, coming up, top of the hour in a few minutes, let's get the feel from the Coastal Carolina people. Bergie, you were there today. They had the press conference after they practiced at Plainsman Park at Auburn. Always an exciting time for the players and the coaches to be in a super regional. They're 54 ounce away from getting to Omaha if they get the right 54 ounce.
That's right. That's right. And they'll send Cameron Flukie to the mound tomorrow night, hoping to get the same dominating performance they got from him against Fairfield last week to open up the regional. Caden Bodine, one of the players we'll hear from in just a second, along with shortstop Ty Dooley. Bodine just recently announced within the last hour or so as a Buster Posey Award finalist as the best catcher in college baseball. He certainly played like it much of the season. He and his shortstop Ty Dooley met with the media along with head coach Kevin Snall, who opened up the conversation by saying this.
He
Great
plays
to be
music.
here. We're obviously one of 16 teams in the country still playing this weekend, and we're 2 really good games away from getting back to Omaha, like all the other teams, which is very exciting. One thing I think it's pretty exciting and proud to say is, this century, there's only 8 teams in the country that's been to the NCAA regionals more than we have. And during that same time period, we've got the 6th best winning percentage in the entire country and the 9th most wins in the entire country. That relentless consistency is something that our program is very proud of, and we're fired up to know that we have the people and we have the resources at Coastal Carolina to maintain that type of consistency and that success in the years to come. Excited to be here and looking forward to tomorrow.
Ty, just talk about, kind of be back in the mix of things after missing a couple of weeks, and just the aggressiveness that the coach has alluded to all year long in terms of the offense and kind of how you guys have played and how that's going to continue this weekend for you guys to be successful at the plate.
It's great to be back in the mix. I got to thank the training staff and our coaches for getting me back as quick as possible. And I'd say the aggressiveness from our offense is something that we've carried with us the last 3 years, and nothing's changed this year. I feel like we're just as aggressive, and we're a full, complete offense.
Do you guys get excited to play an SEC team, or do you try to treat it like any other game?
It's just another team, and we respect our opponents every single day, and we're just excited to be here and excited to play Coastal baseball.
I guess for both guys, just talk about kind of your impressions of this Auburn pitching staff as you guys have kind of jumped into it. What stands out about these guys, and I guess in particular Sam Dutton, kind of starting the first game?
I think it's just we have an elite scouting report program, and we dive into every person in detail. So it's we're looking forward to preparing for him and seeing what we can do.
We're going to treat it like every other weekend and take it step by step.
This is for both Ty and Caden. Last year, and we've talked about this for the last week or so, when you guys were at Clemson and you guys got so close but couldn't quite get over the hump. Now that you guys are here, just the emotions of being 2 games away from Omaha and knowing that the goal of reaching that peak is there, but also knowing too that there's still 2 games, maybe 3 to go before you get there, but also enjoying the ride while you're here and not putting all the pressure on yourselves to have to get there first, but enjoying the ride, I should say.
Enjoying the ride has definitely been big for our program this year. I think we've taken a step back and we're looking at it day by day. Today we had a very good practice, and tomorrow we're going to prepare well for the game, and we're going to play a game. We're just taking it one day at a time.
Yeah, like Ty said, just day by day and step by step, and we really enjoy these guys in the locker room and on the field, so we're looking forward to at least a couple more games with them.
Kevin, I'm assuming at this point you've got a good idea about how your rotation is going to go. Can you elaborate a little bit about kind of what you're looking at tomorrow? Is it still top secret, or where are we going in terms of how we're going to do Friday and Saturday?
Yeah, Cam Flukie is going to start tomorrow, and then we're going to assess it from there. But we know for sure Cam will throw tomorrow.
Coach, you look at his numbers, and they're just kind of outrageous. Can you kind of give a little scouting report on what he brings to the table? I know it's a big fastball, but kind of what does he do for you guys on the mound that's been so good this year?
Well, it starts with his competitiveness. He's got a competitive edge that, is a separator for him. Obviously, he's got a really good fastball. He's got really good stuff. The thing that's been been awesome to see him grow from last year, is just his maturity, being able to manage innings so much better this year, and that's a big step in the right direction. In my opinion, he's if not the one of the best sophomore pitchers in the country, and we're fortunate to have him on our team.
Kevin, when you look at this Auburn lineup 1 through 9 and your scouting of this team, what was it that stood out to you when you guys got together as a coaching staff to try to figure out the best way of attacking this offense going into this weekend?
Well, I think you start with Ike Irish. He's one of the premier hitters in the country. They could be be tough to handle because of they've got so many left-handed hitters. They've got 3 guys in their lineup with over 10 home runs. They've got 3 guys in their lineup with over 10 stolen bases. They've got guys that get on base and they've got power, and that's a recipe for disaster. Guys that get on base, and then they got guys that can hit the ball out of the park. So that's how you can score runs in bunches, and we've got to do a good job of eliminating freeze like always, and we've got to try to keep the ball in the ballpark.
Coach, how do you think your team will adjust to the unusual dimensions here at the ballpark, especially with the big outfield wall? How will especially, I guess, in left field with Sebastian, how is he sort of adjusting? How did you work on that at practice today?
Well, hopefully we hit it over that thing. Just like any other field, every field's a little bit different. It is a little bit different in left field. So we did a lot of work today off of that fence, and he's just going to have to continue to manage it the next day or two.
You were there in 16. You understand what it takes to get to that next level, to get to Omaha. What's your message been to this team at this juncture, at a super regional, kind of the way that you guys did when you went to Baton Rouge and took on the Tigers in 16 to get to Omaha?
Well, the message doesn't change. I hate to say it's just another game. I get it. It's not just another game. Again, we're 2 really good games away from getting back to Omaha. We're only one of 16 teams in America still playing this weekend, which is very exciting. But the truth is, the message is the same. We talk about own it. These 2 words define who we are. It shapes how we win, shapes how we lose. We talk a lot about our attention to detail and our daily grind and grit. And if we just continue to focus on those things, the rest will take care of itself.
Okay, the Coastal Carolina folks. We'll talk more about them with Mike Morgan coming up. Mike will probably have a thing or two to say about the Braves as well. We got recruiting too. Be right back.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. There's a new order regarding international travelers from the Trump administration. Correspondent Haya Panjwani reports.
President Donald Trump is again banning people from countries his administration is deeming dangerous from coming to America. The travel ban is a repeat of an order of his first administration that led to widespread confusion at airports. This version includes Afghanistan, Burma, Chad, the Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. The Republican president's first travel ban was issued in 2017. Haya Panjwani, Washington.
The trade deficit saw a record decline in April. Bob Agnew reports.
The deficit saw a record narrowing in April, just ahead of the implementation of President Trump's tariffs. According to a report from the U.S. Census Bureau and the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis, the deficit fell to $61.6 billion in April. That was a decline of 55.5% from March. Exports were up in April by $8.3 billion. Bob Agnew reporting.
A unanimous Supreme Court made it easier Thursday to bring lawsuits over reverse discrimination, siding with an Ohio woman who said she didn't get a job and then was demoted because she's straight. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson wrote for the court that federal civil rights laws draw no distinction between members of majority and minority groups. The court ruled in an appeal from Marlene Ames, who's worked for the Ohio Department of Youth Services for more than 20 years. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 108 points, the Nasdaq dropping 162, with the S&P 500 index lower by 31. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Big news. Newsmax just went public on the New York Stock Exchange, and millions like you are joining our news revolution. Newsmax is now the 4th highest-rated news channel, just behind CNN. Reuters says we're one of the top news brands in America. 40 million Americans go to Newsmax for shows with Rob Schmidt, Greta Van Susteren, Rob Finnerty, and more. So download our free Newsmax app on your smartphone or TV and start watching. President Trump says Newsmax is truly terrific. Get the free Newsmax app and check out Newsmax shares on the stock exchange. Go to newsmaxinvest.com. That's newsmaxinvest.com. This is not an offer to buy or sell securities, nor shall there be any sale of securities in any jurisdiction in which such an offer would be unlawful.
Markets are looking to regain momentum.
Stocks drifted lower on Wall Street as markets locked in their final moves before a highly anticipated report coming Friday on the job market. The S&P 500 fell 0.5% Thursday. The Dow Jones Industrial Average lost 108 points. It's about 0.3%. The Nasdaq Composite sank 0.8%. Tesla dropped more than 14% as animosity escalated between Tesla's CEO Elon Musk and President Donald Trump. And Trump threatened to cut Musk's government contracts. Treasury yields held relatively steady in the bond market. Seth Suttel, New York.
The U.S. declined to label China a currency manipulator in a new Treasury report, but accuses Beijing of standing out among America's major trading partners for lacking transparency. Treasury's semi-annual report to Congress comes as the Trump administration seeks to strike a trade deal with China. News and analysis at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Keith Peters. There's been
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clearing skies with a low temperature dipping down to 66. Tomorrow, much warmer, mostly sunshine-filled skies to go with a high temperature of 92. For Saturday, we're warm, 93 the high, a blend of sunshine and clouds. There's a 30% chance we get an afternoon downpour. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, well, one of our commitment mysteries just solved at the top of the hour. Remember, I mentioned that Eli Ellis had tweeted that a game-changing commitment type was coming to South Carolina. Turns out it's his brother. His brother has committed to South Carolina, just announced it just a few moments ago. 6'1" guard from Moravian Prep up in North Carolina. And this is Isaac Ellis. So 6'1" Isaac Ellis will be coming in the 26 class. His brother, Eli Ellis, is coming in right now with South Carolina. So that was the player that Eli Ellis was referring to when he hinted that South Carolina had gotten a player. Isaac Ellis, I guess a good player. I think he also is in that overtime elite thing like his brother was. So coming to South Carolina, the Ellis. Can't get enough Ellises at South Carolina. Todd Ellis on the microphone, under center. Now you got Eli Ellis and you got Isaac Ellis. Can't have enough Ellises there, Bergie. Need more Ellises.
And does that mean that somewhere down the road, Derek Scott will be replaced by Eli Ellis?
It's entirely possible. Keep the Ellises rolling out there.
Yes, on radio.
All right, we got full recruiting report coming up. The Gamecocks, after having their first camp of the day, offering some players. We'll update you on all that with our recruiting report coming up. But as always, on a Thursday night, we have recruited Mike Morgan off the highways to join us here on Sports Talk for another edition of Morgan on the Move. And he's brought to you by Play It Again Sports in Harbison. Chris Mosley runs the best sporting goods shop in the Palmetto State with all the things you'll want to buy, sell, or trade. Best selection, best prices, and a great, friendly staff. That's Play It Again Sports in Columbia.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. Incredible summer savings all summer long on the entire lineup of award-winning Chevys. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Together, let's drive.
You know, Mike, I consider you a very close, dear friend. You know, somebody who I would share most anything with. Family members, pets, bank account, trustworthy. So tell me, why do I take so much pleasure out of the Braves losing? Why?
First off, Ellis Johnson just been named a football analyst for Shane Beamer. Breaking news.
Well done, Mike.
Breaking news for your show. Thank you very much.
So quick.
Thank you.
Quick.
You enjoy it because you're a Yankee fan and you hate the Braves. I mean, I don't think there's any hiding it. There's two things in life you hate: the Braves and Greg Sankey. You find every opportunity to bag on both of them. But no, it was the last two games for Atlanta, and I know you have a lot of Braves fans in your audience. I could just tell you it's a microcosm of the season as a whole. You lose a one-run game last night 2-1, in which you don't get a hit until the sixth inning, and you barely scratch any offense, and that's been a problem all year long, even with Acuna back in the lineup. And then today, I think it's the first time they surrendered a 6-run lead in the ninth to lose a game since Willie Mays was a Met. Yeah. So it's just 7 games under 500 now, and you know I'm a little measured in making predictions this early in the year. I try to be a voice of reason, a voice of calm,
yes,
in an otherwise stormy terrain. But in this case, I don't think this roster is going to the postseason. So you either find a way to make a significant move, not just a move, everybody makes moves, a significant move, or you're going to likely find yourself on the way out. The other part of that equation is that the slow start in part was attributed to what? Acuna being out. Well, Acuna has shown he's once again a marquee player. But the other thing that everybody was banking on was Spencer Strider looking like the guy who was a Cy Young candidate a couple of years ago. He doesn't look like that at all. His velo's down a little bit, and he's getting knocked around. And so if you don't get a dominating Spencer Strider, and you're putting it all on Chris Sale and Spencer Schwellenbach, you got a shaky bullpen highlighted by today's meltdown. It's just not a very good team. So, yeah, I think now you can start justifying the anxiety of this could be a long year.
Who would they be willing to part with of significance to get something of significance back?
Well, see, that's just the thing. They're not. This is not a team equipped to do that, because what seemed like a smart move at the time, they tied up all their stars to long-term deals. Acuna, Albies, Riley, Strider. These are all guys with long-term. These are not guys. I mean, obviously anybody would be interested in Acuna, but these are not guys that are just easy to deal away. And so they're not. And the farm system, there's not a ton in it right now. There's just not. So I don't see them being in a situation where, they can make this landmark deal because they're set up for that. I don't think they are.
All right, let's turn our attention to something a little more positive, and that is the Super Regionals. So all the baseball you've done over all the years, do you think the Super Regionals, how do you describe the Super Regionals from the intensity angle, the hanging on every pitch angle? I mean, it's an MLB World Series type of and I know when they get to Omaha, it's that as well, but I mean, especially with the home setting that 8 teams will have, you hang on every pitch, on every move here for the next couple of days if you're fortunate enough to get through in 2 days.
I've always said it's the best, and people say, wait a minute, what about Omaha? And I was very fortunate to call 3 World Series as well. But when you get to Omaha, there's this major exhale, like, whew, we made it.
Yeah.
You know, if you happen to be fortunate enough to win Omaha, obviously that's gravy. But just to get to Omaha, your season is a great success. Those 2 out of 3 pressure out the yin-yang super regionals, I think that is the ultimate pressure cooker. And very often it's not the best team that wins it. Very often it's not the home team that wins it. I had number 1 Arkansas a couple of years ago. They lose at home against NC State. I had number 2 Louisville a few years ago. They lose to Cal Santa Barbara on a walk-off grand slam. Pressure bursts pipes, and the pressure can get to these top seeds. So I nothing surprises me in a super. I know some people go, we got mid-majors in there. I don't know if I'm really up for that. I don't look at it that way. I think mid-major, this is the only sport we have left where a mid-major can really go far into the postseason. It's not happening. Take a look at it. Never happens in football. It's no longer happening in men's basketball. Never happens in women's basketball. It's not happening in women's softball. So what is it happening in? Nothing. This is it. Yeah. If you like a true Cinderella, you better enjoy it, because baseball, and I'm not sure how much longer it's going to last in baseball either, because we're going to a full allotment of scholarships. You know, you can pack up, 28, whatever the number is, full ride scholarships plus NIL. It's going to be really hard for these mid-major programs, even like a Coastal Carolina. And I know they will quickly say, well, we're not a mid-major. And I know one of your people in that studio is or wherever you guys are doing it, will quickly point that out. And that's valid. I don't look at Coastal as a mid-major either. I look at them as a power program, almost like a Fullerton for years and years, even though they're not in a Power 4 league. But they're likely not going to have the same resources as an LSU, right, or a Florida State or a North Carolina. So I don't know how long it's going to last in baseball either, but for the time being, we still have a little bit of a chance to have these type of Cinderella stories. A Murray State, for crying out loud. How many people even knew they had a baseball program? I still like that aspect of it.
Sure.
Mike Morgan on the move. And, Mike, I actually am in Auburn with Coastal getting ready for the Super Regionals.
Of course, I should have known that. Yes.
Tomorrow night.
Enjoy Plainsman Park.
Well, and I was going to ask you about that, because this is my first trip here, and it's a lovely facility. But this is such a big deal here. It's the first ever opportunity that Auburn has had to host a Super Regional. They're actually constructing more seats on top of their hitting facility out beyond right field.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly this is a football school, and Bruce Pearl is trying to pull that over to a basketball school. But is there room here at Auburn for baseball as well?
Yeah, look, Auburn's always had a great baseball tradition, going back to Hal Baird, Frank Thomas, Tim Hudson. They just haven't had the big ballpark. And then for a while there, Auburn baseball was kind of irrelevant. I mean, Butch Thompson and my man Gabe Gross, who used to be one of my regular TV partners at ESPN, they've done an outstanding job. And I was thinking now, I the last trip to Omaha, I had them on the road in Chapel Hill, and they beat a higher seeded North Carolina team. So you're right, they haven't hosted one of these super regionals. This is a great. I expect the crowds to be terrific over there, because they do love baseball in Alabama. They do love baseball. Again, you're not going to be able to seat 10,000 plus like you could at Arkansas or LSU, but wherever they can squeeze them in, they will, and the crowd will be electric, and I think you'll be looking at a terrific environment.
Don't know how much you've had a chance to watch Coastal play this year. Probably have seen Auburn once or twice. Coastal is going to be led by its pitching staff, which, believe it or not, this year's team actually has a lower ERA than the team that won the national championship in 2016, and that was a very solid pitching staff as well. How do you see this playing out this weekend? And clearly, tomorrow night is always big in any regional, or super regional. But how big do you think it is for Coastal to come on the road and get Game 1?
Well, it's always big. The Game 1 is bigger than home field. Like, I'd rather win Game 1 on the road than lose it at home. That's the best way I could put it. The numbers, I'm pretty sure, are somewhere around 80% of the team that wins Game 1 of a super regional goes on to win the best 2 out of 3. So if you want to really have a good chance on the road, that Game 1 is so crucial in so many different ways. I won't pretend to know Coastal Carolina's roster inside and out. I do know this is one of the most talented teams that Auburn's had in a while, and they're led by a really good crop of newcomers, of freshmen and guys in the portal. They're well balanced. They're not just one-dimensional in terms of either really good on the mound or really good at the plate. They're good at both. And obviously, again, they've been battle tested. They've under that direction, under Butch and Gabe and the rest of that staff, they've just turned that thing around. For whatever reason, Auburn struggled in baseball for about 10, 15 years. Some people blamed it on there was no lottery, and lottery would help fund scholarships to baseball. You know, I heard it all. But whatever it was, they've been corrected, and they're poised for another trip to Omaha, and obviously Coastal is no stranger to taking on all comers. I don't expect that squad to be in awe of a big crowd or anything else. They've been there, done that. So I'm looking forward to a terrific series over there at Plainsman Park, and I can't wait to hear what dining establishments you check out there, Chris. There's a great Korean barbecue place on the main drag if you want to go there.
Yeah.
Todd Walker and I think we cleaned the place out of the Mongolian beef one night. So if there's any left, give it a shot.
Yeah, funny, you never see any dogs or cats walking around that area of.
See, always the cheap shots to the whole Korean barbecue family.
Hey,
I had voodoo wings for lunch today. They were very good.
Good call.
And Phil's told me about some place.
Mama Goldberg. How about Mama Goldberg's?
Oh, Mama Goldberg's, yeah, absolutely. That's not too far from the it's on the campus basically, right? It's right near the football stadium, and No, you got you're there long enough where you won't run out of options. If you were doing a week, you'd probably be like, okay, back to Hardee's. But for 3-4 days, you'll be all right.
All right, last thing.
Excellent. Good to hear.
Last thing. So, only 4 SEC teams make the Super Regionals out of 13 that made the tournament. A complete failure by this league. Should Greg Sankey resign over the inability to get more of his teams pushed into the Super Region? I mean, seriously, the SEC should be embarrassed over this showing.
I'm starting to think you just hate the SEC. It's not even Greg anymore. I just think you hate the conference as a whole. You might want to talk to your constituents about that. Look,
I don't suck up to my constituents. There's no sucking up going on here.
Yes, we can't have that.
There's enough sucking up in this town that there's not much air out there to breathe. That's how much sucking up there. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Wow, tough crowd. I don't know what else to say. It was a bloody Sunday where 9 SEC teams got bounced, and that's all you can. I mean, it is what it is. Now you've got 4 in supers. Let's just say hypothetically, if 3 out of the 4 go to Omaha, no one's going to remember that the SEC had a bad regional round. They're just going to remember, once again, they have the most teams in Omaha. Or if the ACC can cash in on the 5 teams they have left, I think this is a great story for the ACC. The ACC could use something good right about now. It was not a good football year. It was not a good basketball year. They've had one baseball champion in the last, 70 years. That was Virginia a few years ago. And they're losing their coach, it looks like. So I think that if the ACC could actually go in there, have good representation in Omaha, and win one of these things, then kudos to them. Kudos to the Big 12. Kudos to the story going on in that conference with Texas Tech, the best sports programs that money can buy. We should all have an oil tycoon leading a collective, and kudos to Arizona, a good story as well. So I like a little geographical balance in my postseason. So I'm happy to see some other leagues have stepped up a little bit.
Well, we do know one thing. There's going to be at least one from each in the World Series because we've got two SEC teams playing each other and two ACC teams playing each other. So there's going to be at least one from each league. Mike, as always, pleasure du jour, and we will talk to you next week.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you much. Chris, have a good time over there.
Thank you, pal. I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to it.
You got it. Absolutely. Take care.
It will be World Series time. Thank you. Thank you, Mike. World Series time come next week or the day before when Mike joins us.
How about that?
Yeah.
Like snuck up on us. It got here fast.
It does move quickly when you're having fun. It's already almost mid-June. Got mid-June right around the corner. It's already June the 5th. So, all right, let's run to the break, and we'll be back. Probably not going to squeeze recruiting in the short segment coming up. We'll save it. Will Vandervoort, I don't know if I told you this, Bergie. Will Vandervoort's going to join us. Speaking of SEC, ACC,
looking forward to it.
He wrote a piece today for the the Clemson Insider. He wrote a piece today ripping the SEC. That kind of put me in my anti-SEC mood when I read that. So we'll let him elaborate. That's coming up. We'll be back.
Are you in the market for an auto loan? Move now. Get an auto loan from Founders Federal Credit Union now through October 31st, and you'll be entered to win up to $25,000 toward your qualifying auto loan and a $5,000 deposit into your Loyalty Select account. Loyalty Select is our highest yield savings account. Leave it there to grow or transfer it out to spend. And the best part? We'll be choosing monthly winners. So the earlier you get your auto loan, the more chances you have to win. So don't wait. Visit foundersfcu.com/auto to learn more or begin your auto loan application today. Not a Founders member yet? Visit us online or stop by an office to learn more about Founders and see if you qualify for membership. We have the financial tools you'll need and the personalized service you deserve. Relax, you're with Founders. Terms and conditions apply. Membership qualification required.
If you're looking to grow your business, Sports Talk is here to help. Whether you're a small business owner or part of a large company in the Palmetto State, we want to hear about what you do. Sports Talk has a proven track record of delivering real results to our partners, and advertising with us is probably more affordable than you think. Our network of affiliates gives us the flexibility to work with budgets of all sizes, and our statewide coverage means that whether you're in Greenville, Orangeburg, Chesterfield, Charleston, Woodruff, or anywhere in between, your future customers are listening to Sports Talk every night. Radio remains one of the most effective ways to reach potential customers, and with our extensive reach across South Carolina, your message will be heard. Every business has a story, and we're here to help share yours. Let's find success together. Email us at sportstalkmedianetwork@gmail.com or visit sportstalksc.com to learn more about how we can help grow your business.
All right, thanks to Mike Morgan for being with us here on Sports Talk. Coming up, Will Vandervoort after the bottom of the hour turn, and then we'll have a pretty lengthy recruiting report for you. Catch up on everything that has been going on. Been a little while since we checked in on As the NIL Churns. How about a little segment of As the NIL Churns?
As the NIL churns.
And it never stops churning. So, Texas Governor Greg Abbott has signed HB 126 into law, Bergie. This will allow colleges in the state of Texas to directly pay athletes in line with the House versus the NCAA settlement. It also means high school athletes who are 17 and older can go ahead and sign their NIL deals. Says here this is a game changer with official visit season now here. A top recruit in Texas who is 17 or older can now hypothetically ink a marketing agreement with an NIL collective before enrolling in a college. Meantime,
what was his point? A quick question about
Yeah.
this, and I didn't read the House bill because we just don't read House bills or Senate bills because they're too lengthy and too wordy and too lawyerish. But what was the arbitrary reason for 17? Why not 16-year-olds? Why not 15-year-olds? Why not 14-year-olds? Why can't middle school kids sign an NIL deal?
Why can't you drive a car before you're 15? I don't know why they come up with these ages.
Good
I mean,
point.
let's
That's
let
a
a
good
9-year-old have a license. I mean,
sure,
you know, let's have a 7-year-old have a gun. I mean, let's just get rid of all age limitations. No limitations on anything. That would be a movie. Isn't there a movie like that? What's that movie called where you have 24 hours to murder and rob? What's that movie called? Oh, Purge. I knew the plumber would know
Purge.
that. Yeah, Purge. Massachusetts plans to pay its athletes, this is UMass now, $5 to $6 million in the next academic year. Over $2 million will go to football. Men's basketball, Frank Martin, will get $800,000, and women's basketball will get around $250,000. Oh, that's going to go over real well. You wait and see how they react to that. Texas A&M.
I'm surprised hockey's only getting $250,000 too. That kind of surprised me at a northeastern school.
Texas A&M, their football coach Mike Elko, quote on NIL, "The way I've come to grips with NIL is just this. It's our payroll, right? And at the end of the day, anybody who's ever run a company, run a business, your ability to ascertain the best talent has something to do with your payroll. It's only because of your payroll. I'm sorry. Is it only because of your payroll? No. Do people come to work for your company or business only because of how much you pay them? No. But it certainly plays a role." Speaking the truth. I saw where Cliff Godwin or Goodwin, East Carolina
Godwin.
baseball coach, Cliff Godwin, complaining about people contacting his players. He says he's got proof, but he needs to present his proof. You just can't go on.
He brought that up in the post-game press conference.
Yeah, you just can't go public and saying I got proof and then not show you proof.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clearing skies with a low temperature dipping down to 66. Tomorrow, much warmer, mostly sunshine-filled skies to go with a high temperature of 92. For Saturday, we're warm, 93 the high, a blend of sunshine and clouds. There's a 30% chance we get an afternoon downpour. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Are you ready to have a boatload of fun this spring? Sail on down to your local Palmetto State Armory store and deck yourself out in our new lifestyle t-shirts, hats, and fishing shirts. Seize the day with brands like Hey Dudes, Costa, Turtle Box, Local Boy, and more. Our selection of rifles, pistols, and shotguns is sure to impress. So don't be left fishing for something to wear once the warmer weather has arrived. Check out one of our 9 retail locations or PalmettoStateArmory.com to outfit your next adventure.
And was demoted. With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Harvard University is challenging President Trump's move to block foreign students from coming to the United States to attend the Ivy League school, calling it illegal retaliation for Harvard's rejection of White House demands. In an amended complaint filed Thursday, Harvard called the president's action an end run around the previous court order. Last month, a federal judge blocked the Department of Homeland Security from revoking Harvard's ability to host foreign students. A unanimous Supreme Court has made it easier to bring lawsuits over reverse discrimination, siding with an Ohio woman who claimed she didn't get a job and was demoted because she's straight. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 108 points, the Nasdaq dropped 162. More details at srnnews.com.
Lots of plumbing companies out there. Few are truly local. Time to discover the difference with Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning. See, when I faced plumbing woes at the Cohen home, Josh and his dedicated team, well, they were my go-to solution. They make a commitment to exceptional service. They arrived on time, clearly detailed all the costs and procedures, and efficiently handled all my repairs without any surprises. These days, how often do we complain about a lack of customer service out there? With Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning, these folks are professional. They're courteous. They're skilled at what they do, and they've earned my trust, and they've earned my recommendation to you. From urgent repairs to the tankless water heater you've always wanted, they've got you covered. Visit franklinplumbing.sc.com or call 799-2222. That's 799-2222. Hey, you tell them Kev sent you from The Point. I'm pretty sure you'll want to thank me later.
Hey, honey, how was your day?
Becky called to complain she waited in line at her pharmacy again. I told her just to go to True Pharmacy.
That's a good idea.
They're quick, they know your name, and they'll take time to discuss your medications with you.
And when we're too busy, True Pharmacy will deliver straight to our house, so we have no wait at all.
What will Becky call me to complain about then?
I'm sure she'll think of something. True Pharmacy, the pharmacy that truly cares. Come see us at our new Columbia location at 623 Beltline Boulevard or our West Columbia location, Triangle Pharmacy at 1239 D Avenue.
Hey y'all, it's Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. We're introducing the Wing and a Prayer Wednesday special. Purchase an order of wings and a drink and get a free gift card for the arcade. We have some of the most mouth-watering jumbo wings like flamethrower hot wings, barbecue wings, teriyaki wings, honey mustard wings, terry hot wings. You can get a half dozen for $9.95 or a dozen for $18.95. Served with celery and choice of dressing. So come join us at Flight Deck Restaurant to enjoy some great jumbo wings and lots of fun in our new and improved arcade. And we at Flight Deck Restaurant thank y'all, and God bless.
Relax. Your banking should be easy. You'll love our free checking account with e-statements from Founders Federal Credit Union. You get everything you need. No monthly fees, no stress. Founders Online makes it easy to securely and seamlessly switch your direct deposit in minutes. It uses the latest in online encryption technology to gather and store your switch information. Additionally, Founders adheres to the highest industry standards to keep your personal information safe. Still waiting to switch? No worries. Apply today for an account and enjoy your secure, convenient banking with Founders. Already have an account? Founders Online lets you transfer your direct deposit in just a few clicks. Let Founders be your trusted financial partner. Visit one of our convenient locations or go to foundersfcu.com/checking to get started today. Federally insured by the NCUA. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
All right, coming up, we have got a meaty, juicy edition of the Sports Talk Recruiting Report brought to you by Seawell. Speaking of meaty and juicy, a reminder, it's a Roast Beef Friday at Seawell's tomorrow, so get your buns out there for that. So today, thumbing through various stories to read, ran across an interesting piece from our good buddy Will Vandervoort with the Clemson Insider. And he joins us now after probably being out on the football field the last few days with Clemson camp going on, watching these various folks run around and try to earn offers from Clemson. But Will took some time to react to a story on SEC, or the belief, or the constant spewing of the belief that the SEC is the greatest athletic organization and sports league in the history of mankind. And he seemed to take a little exception to that. Welcome in, sir.
Hey, how you doing, Phil?
We are doing terrific. Great to have you with us. I know you're happy you got your quarterback now with the Steelers, so you can put that to bed.
Yeah, I think you know how I feel about that. So, I think me and all of Steeler Nation are not very happy that Aaron Rodgers is our quarterback, but you know what? He is for at least 1 year, and so we'll just have to deal with it, I guess. So we'll see what happens. But I can guarantee you, if you ask the majority of Steeler fans, they're not happy with this.
Well, if you
So,
get good
it is what it
Aaron, it's going to be fine for a season. You know, the question is, will you get good Aaron? Only time will tell. All right, your column was entitled, "We Are Not Stupid, ESPN." We are not stupid, ESPN, with a picture of Greg Sankey. So I'll let you share your opinion about this particular column and the points you were trying to make.
Yeah, we're not stupid. And the point I'm making is basically you said kind of coming into, like, last week, if anybody's following, they should know the SEC media spring meetings were last week in Florida, and the last day there, and of course all during the week, Sankey and Lane Kiffin and I'm trying to think, also DeBoer for Alabama were, kind of like, talking about how they should have been in the playoffs last year. They went all the way back again, just bringing back up what happened a year ago. And then on the last day, Sankey gives the media a 7-page packet about why the SEC is so great compared to everybody else from a strength of schedule standpoint. And that's all fine and good, and you get it. I mean, that's his job. We all get that, right? I mean, that's what they're supposed to do as commissioners. And, but then a week later, ESPN comes out with their FPI, Football Index poll, and they, 11 of the 18 teams in this poll are ranked in the top 11 of the top 18 are SEC teams in this poll. And it's like, hold on a second. This is ridiculous. There's no way you're saying the 9th and 10th place teams in the conference should be, in consideration for college football playoff bid. And the FPI poll does a lot of strength of schedules, put it as a major part of that component, and that's kind of what the SEC is pushing. And I know at the moment it doesn't matter right now, but to me it's like you can see that they're already laying the foundation, Corn, for what they did last year, for what happened with Alabama and Ole Miss. They're laying that foundation now so they can have this argument come November. So they can say, well, if you remember, there's so many teams in the SEC that are at the top and they got the best conference, kind of setting it up for this narrative, if you will. And there is reason to do this if you're ESPN. And, yeah, you can say conspiracy theory and all that, and I get it, and that's fine. I don't care. But my whole point I brought out was, let's be honest. Who's going to be broadcasting the college football playoff for the next 6 years or so? With ESPN. Who just signed a big $1 billion deal with the SEC recently in the last few years? That's ESPN. You get where I'm going here. It benefits ESPN that the more SEC teams that are in this playoff benefits ESPN. And it helps ESPN benefit the SEC and get that money of revenue to the SEC, and it helps the SEC get the revenue as well. So I don't know, man. It's a little. We're not stupid here, and that's my whole point. We're not stupid here. There's one thing to say there's some bias. There's another thing to say, and this is an agenda. And I think that was evident by that FBI poll that came out. To say Tennessee is a top 10 team right now is ridiculous. When you consider they're replacing their quarterback, their best running back, their best wide receiver, and a whole bunch of other players on the defensive side of the ball. They're not even going to be preseason top 20 probably when the season starts, much less be the number 10 team in the country. Alabama, number 3. Alabama doesn't have a starting quarterback right now. How are they number 3 in the country? South Carolina and is number 15, I believe, or somewhere in that range. I don't got it right in front of me. Auburn's 14, South Carolina 15, I believe. So you're telling me the 8th and 9th place teams in the SEC are going to be in playoff contention if this matches what the poll on November 5th is going to look like? You see where I'm going here? It's a little, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of going to that argument that Kirk Herbstreit made after Indiana and SMU got beat in the playoffs, saying, we got to stop looking at wins and justifying losses more. I'm like, when do we come to a world where we justify losing? I mean, if you lose a number of games, come on. I don't care. It's like saying the Cleveland Browns deserve to get into the playoffs because they play in the AFC North. I mean, come on. Let's stop doing this.
We're going to bring Bergie in here in just a moment because that's one of his favorite topics. But I want to go back to, my feeling, and I hear what you're saying. Now, there's some statistics here, especially from an ACC standpoint, when you look at the SEC versus other conferences, and you look at, for example, the overall record against the ACC. They've won 40 more games head-to-head against the ACC. They've won 15 more games head-to-head against the Big 12. I could go down the list. But one thing the SEC has that nobody else has, the relationship with ESPN. Now, I know ESPN owns the other networks, but nobody has the relationship with them that the SEC does because the SEC is bringing in the most money. They also, no other network has a voice, a face to shill for them like Paul Feinbaum does. And
that's correct.
Everything that the SEC does on television in the media runs through him first. The ACC network is a little brother to the SEC network, and it doesn't carry nearly the clout nor the proper programming, nor did they ever develop. And I know Mark Packer's retiring. I know Wes Durham's been in there. They never developed that guy. I don't think they had anybody who wanted to be that guy like Paul Feinbaum to sit up there. I know they tout the ACC as best they can, but go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to say, as far as that goes, and I won't get into too much of it because there was stuff I know that I'm not allowed to report or say, especially in this medium. But I can tell you that, trust me, there's people that would love, that are a part of the ACC network, that will love to be doing what Feinbaum does. Let's just understand this as I say this. Who runs both of those networks?
You mean the individual?
Who is the mama station to both of those networks?
The
ESPN.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
The decision for let's just think about it this way. If you don't think the people at ACC want to have a good network, come on, Phil. Me and you both been in this business long enough. We know that they do. If you don't, so to say that the ACC doesn't do good program, well, there's a reason behind that. Let's just leave it there, and we'll just leave it there. There's a reason behind that. Now, to get to the other point, though, yes, the SEC has been the best conference. I mean, nobody's going to argue that. Yes, they've beaten the ACC head-to-head more times than not. We're not going to argue that. However, to me, every year is new. And this is why I hate preseason polls. This is why I hate projecting and all this stuff, because it puts a false narrative out there right off the bat. I've always been a component that you don't start doing rankings until November, and everybody's on the same slate until then. And then at that point, you see who the cream is. And you get a better idea who are the best teams. You don't have somebody setting the narrative to who the best teams are. And that's what we get right here with that. Automatically, you're setting the narrative to everybody, whether it's consciously or subconsciously. It plays a role. I used to be a former AP voter. It does play a role. We look at these things. We pay attention to these things. So I may not necessarily think I'm going to pay attention to it, what it's going to give me, but then there comes a time it probably does influence me. And so these are things that, that happen. And look, like I said, we're not stupid, and neither is the SEC and ESPN. They know what they're doing. And it's like, they're trying to create the narratives right now so it helps them later on. And that's kind of my whole point of my column. It's just like, I'm getting tired of this, and I just hope more people start getting tired of this. And you're seeing some backlash to it. You even see even some people that work on their own network that are saying this is not right at times. And obviously the people at Fox are saying it too, because they're the voice of the Big Ten, and there's things they don't like that ESPN does. So there's people that are starting to come out and talk about this and get it out there, because it's just getting more and more ridiculous with each year. And that's kind of what my point is. And we need to, as best you can, because there's already advantages the SEC, the Big Ten, and then even to a certain extent the ACC and the Big 12 have that the Group of Fives don't have and stuff like that. and then there's more that the SEC and the Big Ten have that the ACC and the Big 12 don't have from a competitive standpoint, whether it be dollars that help you get more athletes, that help you get the best athletes, whatever it may be, get the best coaches. You already have an advantage that's already there. You don't need to create more advantages is my thing. Let's let it play out on the field so the teams that have worked hard to get to where they can get an equal share at trying to win it than to suppose somebody saying a team that lost 3 games that got beat by 21 points at Oklahoma, the worst Oklahoma team in the last 25 years, is a playoff team. Come on. That's ridiculous. That team was not a playoff team. Neither was Ole Miss. They lost to Kentucky, a 1-7 SEC team, Kentucky, at home, on homecoming. Come on. Ole Miss didn't deserve to be in the playoffs either. You got to win every game. You got to win the games that matter the most, but you also got to win those games when you're not playing against a good team. And those 2 teams didn't deserve to be in the playoffs. I would make more of an argument South Carolina deserved to be in the playoffs before those 2 teams did. And I know those teams beat South Carolina, but South Carolina beat Clemson, first of all, at the end of the year, but they also won other big games. And they didn't lose to anybody they weren't supposed to. And so I would make an argument more South Carolina deserved to be in the playoff more than any of those 2 teams did.
All right, we got about 3 minutes, Berkey.
Okay, Will Vandervoort, the Clemson Insider, who is going to be a regular guest on this program for 2 reasons. One, he believes, like me, that losses should matter, and he also believes that polls shouldn't come out until November. Well done, Will. Let me, if you don't mind, play devil's advocate for just a moment, because I can only imagine what your IMs and DMs and everything else after this story came out. Let me guess the situation here. How many people came at you writing for Clemson to complain about the SEC when Clemson just went through a situation where they were trying to sue their way out of the ACC to perhaps get into the SEC? And if that was the case, how did you respond?
Let's not be stupid, guys, right? There's a reason why Clemson wanted out of the ACC, and they wanted into the SEC, right? I mean, come on. That's the same thing I'm talking about right here, Clyde. So, yes. But, no, I've gotten some comments. ACC or Clemson fans have said me, are telling me I'm nailing the head, you nailed it, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, SEC fans are like, oh, you're whining, you're doing this, whatever. It is what it is. My job as a columnist, is to write something that's going to make people think, and that's all I want to do, and that's what I hope I did here. And if people agree with me, that's great. If people don't agree with me, that's fine too. It doesn't hurt my feelings. It is what it is. I hope I just made people think about it and made them at least raise their eyebrow a little bit and pay attention a little bit closer. That's all I was trying to do out of this. And I didn't. Obviously, I work for a Clemson website, but I didn't want to make it about a Clemson necessarily. Clemson's number 11, because again, I think preseason polls are stupid, and so that's another whole column for another whole day. And I just we don't know what anybody's going to be until they get throughout week 6 or 7. Phil, I mean, you always have this conversation, talk about NFL because we both love the NFL. The Steelers and Packers, if they start off the season 4-0, I'm a little excited, but I'm not too excited because I always pay attention to what happens the next 2 weeks. Because generally by week 6, you understand who the true contenders are going to be in the NFL, right? Mm-hmm. And I think college football is similar. By at least week 6 or 7, you're going to know who the true contenders are for the college football playoff. And I think that's when we got to really start looking at it and not have these polls that give us pre-notions of who is good and who's not, because we really don't know. Because if we did that, then if we did that with every sport, then think about all the teams that wouldn't make the playoffs and, in the NFL or the NBA and stuff because they play better later in the season, or they win games when it matters the most, and they don't lose to teams they're not supposed to, and things like that. And let's get a true nature of what everybody's supposed to be, and that's what I want. And I just want it to be fair as it can be, especially with college football, because this is the sport I love the most.
Absolutely. Well, it was a great read. I enjoyed it. You're right. Your job as a columnist is to get people to think and react, and we thank you for your time. We'll have you back on with us again soon. Always great talking to you. Enjoy, having the guy I used to dream about, Aaron Rodgers. He's your dream or your nightmare now. Okay, depending on how things go, he'll be your dream or your nightmare. So, but we thank you.
Let's hope. Yeah, let's hope it's a dream.
Yeah,
it's a good dream.
Yeah,
that's all I'm hoping for. But it's 1 year. I'll survive for 1 year, and we'll just move on from that. But Yeah, thanks for having me, Corn. I appreciate the kind words, and I appreciate your read, man. I appreciate everybody out there.
Absolutely. We remind folks to go to the Clemson
Appreciate it, Will.
Insider. It's a free site.
Thanks, buddy.
It's a free, and thank you, Will. It's a free site, the Clemson Insider. So they do a great job, like all the sites up there covering Clemson. They got a bunch of sites.
Smart man.
Yeah, well, he's from Bamberg, so he's got small town thinking, which is the best kind of thinking, if you ask me. Small town thinking.
Get rid of preseason polls.
Mm-hmm.
Smart man.
It's called logical thinking. Okay, recruiting. We'll get it in after the break.
Are you in the market for an auto loan? Move now. Get an auto loan from Founders Federal Credit Union now through October 31st, and you'll be entered to win up to $25,000 toward your qualifying auto loan and a $5,000 deposit into your Loyalty Select account. Loyalty Select is our highest yield savings account. Leave it there to grow or transfer it out to spend. And the best part? We'll be choosing monthly winners. So the earlier you get your auto loan, the more chances you have to win. So don't wait. Visit foundersfcu.com/auto to learn more or begin your auto loan application today. Not a Founders member yet? Visit us online or stop by an office to learn more about Founders and see if you qualify for membership. We have the financial tools you'll need and the personalized service you deserve. Relax, you're with Founders. Terms and conditions apply. Membership qualification required.
If you're looking to grow your business, Sports Talk is here to help. Whether you're a small business owner or part of a large company in the Palmetto State, we want to hear about what you do. Sports Talk has a proven track record of delivering real results to our partners, and advertising with us is probably more affordable than you think. Our network of affiliates gives us the flexibility to work with budgets of all sizes, and our statewide coverage means that whether you're in Greenville, Orangeburg, Chesterfield, Charleston, Woodruff, or anywhere in between, your future customers are listening to Sports Talk every night. Radio remains one of the most effective ways to reach potential customers, and with our extensive reach across South Carolina, your message will be heard. Every business has a story, and we're here to help share yours. Let's find success together. Email us at sportstalkmedianetwork@gmail.com or visit sportstalksc.com to learn more about how we can help grow your business.
The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
All right, got to get right to it. Seawells presents the recruiting report tonight. Don't forget, it's a roast beef Friday. It's an RBF tomorrow at Seawells. Get in line early. Line up around the block from 11 till 2. Great lunch. So make yourself hungry and then go to Seawells, 11 o'clock till 2. And when you need Seawells for catering, just give them a call at 803-771-7385 online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. All right, Clemson gets Carter Scruggs, 6'6", 290, Leesburg, Virginia, coming off his official to Clemson last weekend. Went ahead and committed, canceled his other visits, Michigan, Penn State, and Georgia. The Tigers have what we're calling the Great Wall of Pickens, walling off Pickens County. They got 6 offensive linemen committed. Defensive end J.R. Hardrick, 6'6", 235. This will be a work in progress, a developer. South Pittsburgh, Tennessee, committed to Clemson late this afternoon, had been headed that way ever since Chris Rumpf offered him in early May. Came in for a visit, liked everything about it, took his official visit last weekend, canceled visits to Georgia Tech and Louisville the next 2 weekends. That's 17 in the Clemson class. Cornerback K.J. Johnson, 6'2", 175, Birmingham, was in for his official at South Carolina over the weekend and had a great time. Really enjoyed visiting with Torian Gray. Been on him since early spring. Was in for a visit in March to watch practice. So he's got a great feel for Gray. He loves how Gray develops players, gets them to the NFL. Loved everything else around South Carolina, the 650 Lincoln and the city. So really looks good here for South Carolina. He is going to visit West Virginia this weekend, but he plans to make his commitment announcement sometime around 11 o'clock on Monday morning. And I would point towards the Gamecocks here with him. Clemson offered a punter Mikey Bukauskas, 6'3", 205 of Prosper, Texas, after a workout where he punted about 15 or 20 times inside Death Valley on Tuesday, and he said he did very well, had one hang time of over 5 seconds. His last punt he killed at the 1-yard line. They offered him. He's ranked number 2 by Cole's Kicking, and he is going to visit Texas officially this weekend, then take an official visit to Clemson, and then make his decision. Those are his twos, Clemson and Texas. Running back Amari Thomas from down in Florida visited South Carolina over the weekend officially. He's been committed to Florida State. Said he had a great experience. Really can't lie. He loved everything that they talked about. Spent a lot of time with Mike Shula. This was interesting. He said that they would use him kind of like a Christian McCaffrey type in his offensive scheme. He's a good pass receiver. Yeah, that's interesting stuff. He's down to South Carolina, Kentucky, Florida State. He is still committed to Florida State. He goes to Kentucky this weekend and then Florida State on the 20th. Today, South Carolina offered wide receiver Amiri Acker out of Crescent, defensive end Gustav Henriks Ross, 6'4", 230 out of Sweden, 2027 wide receiver DeMarcus Brown of Roanoke, Virginia, offered by South Carolina today. Also, 2028 wide receiver Jordan Gorham, 6'4", from Timberland, 2028 quarterback Brady Quinn, 6'1", 180 of Naples, Florida, and said that one. 2027 wide receiver Darius Carter, formerly of Ridgeview, but now planning to transfer to another school, will camp at South Carolina tomorrow. And Irmo 2027 offensive tackle Nathan Carson was offered by NC State. 2028 offensive tackle Brody Lorenzo of Dutch Fork offered by NC State while at camp Thursday. We mentioned the basketball commitment, 6'1" Isaac Ellis, Moravian Prep, North Carolina. He committed to South Carolina for the 26 class. He is the brother of South Carolina's incoming freshman, Eli Ellis, so they'll have a couple of the Ellis brothers in the backcourt at South Carolina. Also, a couple of other notes. Bryce Perry Wright, the big defensive end, defensive tackle out of Buford, Georgia, July 4th for his announcement. Clemson, Texas, Miami, and Texas A&M are the finalists there. South Carolina women in the top 10 with 6'2", J.C. Abee of Frisco, Texas. And there you go. That is our recruiting report for tonight. Thank you, Bergie. Enjoy Auburn.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to tomorrow.
And we'll see you tomorrow.